Hello, useless eaters. As your unqualified, non-elected global human health overlord, I'd like to take this opportunity to flaunt my position of power and influence over society and share some of my plans for you and your future. When I amassed my fortune in computer software, I demonstrated that I was willing to lie, steal code, cheat my partners, and exercise monopolistic control to destroy my competitors. Now that I've retired, I can rebrand myself as a humanitarian. With my for-profit foundation masquerading as a charity, I can advocate for population reduction and sponsor mass human experiments with unproven vaccines in vulnerable populations. Like my father, a powerful banker, eugenicist, and Rockefeller crony himself, it's always been my ambition to decide who lives and, more importantly, how many have to.
That generic-looking cartoon sure looks like someone that we can't criticize fully here on this platform. I wonder who it is. Must be nobody. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Lukadowski here of WeAreChange.org. And oh boy, do we have some absolutely crazy news to get into today. As of course, there's a plethora of absolutely insane corruption going on. This as today, we just got another major signal that there are some very serious economic troubles ahead. Lots of geopolitical realignments. And if you thought it couldn't get a lot worse, you're not thinking. This as we have a very eye-opening message for you here on this particular video. And there's so much crazy news, we're just going to jump right into it, as today we are finding out that Nancy Pelosi's husband has bought over $1 million of computer chip stocks in a company that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi will be soon deciding the future of in an upcoming vote in Congress. Now, it's important to note here that we live in a plutocracy, a country created for some of the wealthiest people in our society, like the Pelosis, that literally have been making better stock trades than Warren Buffett and anyone else in the business. How does someone connected to government make all these accurate, predictive economic decisions that they're so heavily involved in? I wonder how they're doing that. And obviously it is clear corruption, as of course there's even entire social media accounts dedicated to Nancy Pelosi's stock trading portfolios, which have been banned and censored, especially on TikTok, because they have been very accurate. And when you're gaming the system from an insider like Nancy Pelosi is, you could bet your bottom dollar that they don't want you finding out about it. They don't want you investing like they're investing, because the game is rigged. Now, when it comes to this specific highly suspicious stock purchase from Paul Pelosi, some people are saying it's $1 million. Business Insider is saying it's 2.1 million. Other news organizations are saying 5 million. I think it's just safe to say over 1 million. This, as the company that he is buying is set to receive a massive government subsidy inside of Congress that will be taking your money and giving it to them, heavily investing in that specific industry. The bill that Nancy Pelosi is going to be voting on will decide if $52 billion will be delivered to these specific companies in a chip subsidy bill that would also give the companies tax credits in order to, of course, increase competitiveness with China when it comes to producing chips. Now, with financial decisions like this could explain why Nancy Pelosi, who, by the way, has a salary of nearly $200,000 a year as Speaker in the House, is estimated to be worth over $100 million. Those numbers, of course, don't equate unless you're doing something shady, which a lot of these politicians are. Secretively, this is just scratching the surface of what we're finding out. You can imagine what we still don't know about. As openly, these people also just drunk drive without any major consequences, as Nancy Pelosi's husband was just caught doing within just the last few weeks. What will be the consequences of this irresponsible behavior that put lives at risk? Well, we'll see if there's any, and if there is, it's probably going to be a lot more severe than just robbing the nation of its wealth. And when the ruling elites are, stealing money, driving drunk, they're also doing unspeakable things to small children that we can't even describe to you in this particular platform. This, as today we're finding out, according to the Daily Mail, there's a photograph of Prince Andrew that allegedly would, quote, rock the monarchy if it was ever made public. This, as we're finding out, as a photographer working for the BBC, Mark Harrison is refusing to reveal what this photograph shows, as allegedly it is shocking and embarrassing, and it made, quote, staff's jaw drop. Now, what kind of predicament was Prince Andrew caught in to have such salacious, speculative images of him out there that the British Broadcasting Corporation is literally covering up? Well, we don't know. We can only speculate from here, as of course it's also important to note that the photo was taken during the infamous interview that Prince Andrew made to the British Broadcasting Company. And a couple things here that I just wanted to point out. Why is the British Broadcasting Company, that receives subsidies from the government to publish information to the general public, protecting the royal family once again when it comes to monstrous individuals that have hurt individuals in unspeakable ways? This is not the first time they did this. They did this on multiple occasions. Two, whether this photograph is something legitimate or it's not, it doesn't matter. Prince Andrew, the Queen's favorite son, according to many sources, deserves a reckoning when it comes to his participation in the largest extortion and trafficking operation that has happened within the last 30 years. And the fact that this man could buy justice, he, by the way, settled with his accusers to the tune of millions of dollars to silence them, to censor any kind of criticism of him. The fact that this man could do unspeakable things and get away with it because he's rich and his mom is the queen shows you the hypocrisy and duplicity of the current system that we're living under. Now, when the ruling elites aren't driving home drunk, stealing your money, and hurting children in unspeakable ways, let's not also forget that a lot of them are consuming a huge amount of paraphernalia and even brazenly taking photos and videos of them breaking the law, just like Hunter Biden did many times, and never facing any real repercussions of. If there ever was enough reason to understand that we're living under a plutocracy that prioritizes multinational corporations and big banks and huge industries like Big Pharma, what other signs did you need to show you that this is purely a plutocracy under all forms of understanding of it? And while the rich get to do whatever they want, let's also not forget that they put out a lot of distractions for us, so we are divided and conquered talking about nonsense that has absolutely no impact on our life. And this is why one of the best ways to combat this, in my opinion, is not just online, but in the real world, specifically with the help of thebestpoliticalshirts.com, as we have been launching a lot of brand new merchandise that is definitely going to rattle the head of a lot of Kyles and Karens out there. I'm wearing one of the newest shirts that we just released right now that I think is a little redundant, but very important, especially when it comes to issues that bring people together from the left and right on an issue that we could all agree upon. And that is, well, we can't even talk about that on this particular platform, but you could wear the shirt and get these larger, important messages out there to the general public. We just released a very Atlas special shirt that says "No Step on Dog." We also, of course, made another edition of the Maxwell version of the shirt I'm wearing right now. One that says "Ungovernable," another one that says "Don't take people's stuff and don't hurt them." Lots of Let's Go Brandon paraphernalia, lots of Klaus Schwab, "You will own nothing and you will be happy" shirts that, of course, are meant to start a conversation. Some of the shirts we can't show you. Some of the shirts you can even express the ideas online, but you can in person, where you could have the biggest impact by talking to people in your neighborhood, in your communities, inside of your supermarkets. Careful with supermarkets. Lots of poison there. In your community, local farms. If you don't have any, just find the Amish. They're usually pretty good at that. We have shirts for every kind of political disagreement that you might have. Lots of fanfare when it comes to fake meat. The shirts we have are not only meant to express an idea, they're meant to start a conversation, and you will have a lot of them by wearing these t-shirts, which you could exclusively get on thebestpoliticalshirts.com, while at the same time supporting independent media. Truly, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys purchasing t-shirts, and this is one of the true ways that we could have our own company, do our own thing, express our own ideas by launching a successful business that allows us on many different platforms to say and do whatever we want. Truly, the shirt store is one of the best ways to do that, and because you do, we truly appreciate you. And if you want to be on the website, we have even started posting your pictures of you guys wearing the shirts, specifically on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. Scroll all the way down, and you can see the amazing individuals participating in this larger collage. Email info@wearechange.org if you want your picture up there. Now, I think it's fair to say that we're in a little bit of a predicament especially when it comes to all the financial dealings and current economic situation. And I think Matt Kibbe kind of synchronized a very important point that I think is worth making, saying specifically, quote, "The solution to rampant inflation is simple enough. Just stop. Stop spending, stop printing, stop helping, stop meddling, let the economy heal from years of government abuse. These are political intolerable solutions, of course." And if you look at the current situation that we're dealing with, the current problems that we're dealing with, this is what has been happening routinely, historically, when governments and central bankers become too big, too powerful, and too involved in your everyday life. And with the government promising more intervention to their already interventionist destruction of our economy, things are obviously going to get worse on many markers, including a very recent one, not just because of the policies being implemented all over the world that are going to create food shortages, energy shortages, a restriction of life that we're seeing the farmers in the Netherlands protest right now, that we're seeing Sri Lankans overturn their government because of. But specifically, when it comes to these out-of-touch plutocrats, they now have a vision that they must protect you from you, and that even though they're living in lavish oceanfront mansions, even though they're flying on individual private jets, even though they're ignoring the pollution created by their companies, by also developing countries, they still have the gall to stand up on their podium and tell you, you are the problem. You're consuming too much. And that, of course, is a message being brought on with a lot of skepticism, rightfully so. The Biden administration is the epitome of these kind of hypocrisies, as they, of course, have implemented policies that have directly shot the United States in its foot, restricted and stopped domestic energy exploration, production, as, of course, it's the Biden administration that literally promised to get us off fossil fuels. Now, it's that same administration, it's that same president that's now literally flying to Saudi Arabia asking them to produce more oil. This, as of course the Biden administration promised that it wouldn't be doing so, and now they're very publicly doing that, as Joe Biden has flown to Saudi Arabia to meet with the Saudi Crown Prince, as of course there are major energy shortages and some serious problems that the world is dealing with because of energy production that has been halted deliberately by the Western world. What's the Western world's response to destroying domestic energy production? To help the environment? Go to Saudi Arabia, finance their human rights violations, and then use more oil to ship their oil over here to the United States, all in the name of helping the environment. A ridiculous, nonsensical policy that, of course, truly deserves to be criticized. The hypocrisy of Biden demanding Saudi Arabia to produce more oil is extremely bewildering with the policies that he has instituted. And now, according to the White House, yes, energy prices are going to go down because allegedly Saudi Arabia has agreed to Biden's demand and has now increased oil production, which, according to the White House, will help stabilize the markets. Now, couple things here. One, this policy is idiotic and absolutely deranged. Two, is that the truth? Are they really, just because Biden came, are they really just going to do it just because Biden told them to? And no. It looks like the White House is lying through their teeth once again, as the official reports that we're getting from Bloomberg are saying that Saudi Arabia is publicly declaring that the decision to produce more oil is up to OPEC and not them, as we're getting reports from inside of Saudi Arabia that they will not be increasing the oil production beyond their current limits, making this a major slapback against Biden, his administration, and what looks like bold-faced lies to the American people that they're trying to deny the upcoming disastrous reality of that they're going to be facing the consequences of because of their policies soon. Reuters, Biden failed to secure major security and oil commitments at Arab summit, and it looks like that's not the only contradicting statement from the Saudis and the United States. The Saudis are denying any official ties with Israel, even though they have worked with a lot of foreign policy endeavors inside of Syria just a few years ago. There's another contradiction between these two countries, as Biden is saying that he did confront a Saudi minister about the assassination of an American journalist who had ties to U.S. intelligence organizations. Biden is trying to dismiss this topic by saying, quote, officially, talk about something that matters, And yeah, that does matter. And geopolitically, we told you that this mission was futile even a few weeks ago, as of course the Biden administration even talked and announced this trip officially, because we said, what's in the incentive of Saudi Arabia actually doing this? As of course Saudi Arabia and other oil-producing countries are receiving a record amount of profits, as of course the price of energy has gone up, the demand has gone up, the supply has been limited deliberately. And why would Saudi Arabia give themselves a pay cut by producing more supply when the demand is at an all-time high and people are willing to pay a lot for it and give them more money? Well, Biden of course promised them more security alliance deals, and the Saudis rejected that. It's also important to note that the United States is still in a coalition with Saudi Arabia, literally launching airstrikes on bridges, roads, schools, and hospitals inside of Yemen, working together hand in hand against the Houthi rebels, working with literal radical Wahhabists and members of Al-Qaeda. All of this while implementing bewildering foreign policy decisions that, of course, are creating a current political realignment of many foreign countries that are looking to alternatives to the U.S. petrodollar. This, as of course the latest news from Saudi Arabia, signals more economic devastation for everybody, including the poorest people in the world, the poorest people inside of the United States. The people with the least amount will be paying the most for these ridiculous, insane policies, as more Americans are living paycheck to paycheck more than ever. And the big lesson here is that no one is coming to save you. Things are going to get a lot worse before they get any better. If you're looking for a politician or a personality that will change things in your life, you're looking in the wrong direction. The only person who could help you is you yourself as an individual. Taking care of your own responsibilities, your own health should be a priority more than ever, especially with some very upcoming turbulent times. The Republicans, just like the Democrats, don't worry, they'll sell out to the same forces, to the same demonic evil powers that are out there. And truly, you have to look in yourself to deal with the larger calamities coming our way more than ever. I hope you guys are staying up to date with what's happening, staying smart, and making wise, important decisions for your lives. I hope the rain that's coming down on my recreational vehicle is not too loud for you guys. But yeah, the storm is coming. It's here. I got some water on me. I just ran outside a little bit during the shooting of this. So prepare accordingly, because this is going to be a rude awakening for the people who are not paying attention, who of course won't be prepared to ready for the storm that's already here and messing things up very severely. I'm going to be talking about that on LukeUncensored.com tomorrow. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, and this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for a lot more here on wearechange.org.